What is the one thing you will have your eye on most closely when they start this thing in 100 days?
Is the new stamp of the new head coaches in the NFL and their teams. If you look at Matt Rule, Joe Judge, Kevin Stefanski, these are guys taking over organizations, taking over teams who want to make vast improvements, but they didn't get an offseason. They don't have an opportunity to stamp this team with the type of personality or the type of characteristics that will be typical of their coaching. And so what do they look out right out of the gate when the season starts? Can the Cleveland Browns get all of this talent together and improve? What type of quarterback is Daniel Jones, and does this offense move forward? And also in Carolina, now you have Teddy Bridgewater, you have a young Joe Brady as an offensive coordinator, you just signed CMC. Can these new head coaches who have never been in this position in an unprecedented time get their teams to play high quality football from the start of the regular season?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point here that I wonder if people are thinking enough about based on the uncertainty of the circumstance. And Mike Tannenbaum, I know yours is somewhat similar, but goes to a very specific place.
That's exactly right. Continuity matters, Greeny. Let's go to opening day. Drew Brees, Tom Brady. We're all excited to see these two icons play each other. But Drew Brees and Sean Payton have been together for 215 games. Ironically, second only to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. On the other side, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, game number 1. And in this weird offseason where they haven't been together, that's a huge advantage for the Saints. So I think this Buccaneer offense is going to be a big work in progress. And while watching Brees and Brady will be great, Drew Brees has a 215-game lead in terms of continuity and experience over Tom Brady on opening day.
Well, so it's an interesting point. So, Dan Graziano, before we move away from that, I want to live in this conversation for just a moment. What are you hearing from these teams that have new head coaches and are trying to install whatever it is they're trying to install under these circumstances on Zoom and whatever else they're using? What are you hearing about how those things are going?
Well, they're going as well as they can. I think the reception from players on these teams has been good in terms of the virtual offseason, in terms of attendance and attentiveness. I think when you talk to coaches, they say it's going as well as it can. You would expect it to be difficult and challenging in its own way, but they are eager to get guys on the field. And obviously everybody recognizes that a lot of things have to happen, a lot of questions have to be answered before you can get players on the field. But especially the new coaches, very eager to find out what the procedures are going to be in terms of training camp, when they'll be able to start training camps, and when they can actually get guys on a practice field and start putting some of this stuff into practice. Because there's no question that the new coaches especially are well behind where they should be at this point in terms of preparation due to circumstances that obviously no one could control.
So, RC, would it be if we're going to sort of make a projection here, would it be your expectation that those teams will struggle early in the season, that the teams with new coaches, and even a place like Tampa, where Arians is not a new coach, but they have a new quarterback, do you believe they'll struggle?
You know, I don't necessarily know if you can bring it to Tampa. Tampa might not be flying at the clip they're expected to by the end of the season early on. But I do think you can even go to Ron Rivera. You can even go to Mike McCarthy in Washington and in Dallas and look at some of these teams and say it may be a little difficult to make the type of jump or the type of changes you need to make as new head coaches. So I expect teams that don't have that type of continuity, don't have that type of chemistry yet, to have a difficult time getting out the gate as fast as these teams who have experience to draw upon as the season starts.
In the meantime, Dan Graziano, let me come to you because a lot has to happen in the next 99 days for the season to actually start in 100. So what are the things that we should be keeping an eye on if we are to hope that we will have football 100 days from today?
Yeah, look, just start with training camp. Are they going to be able to have it? And if so, when would it start? What would the procedures be in terms of trying to keep everyone safe? That's going to be the first real testing ground. If we assume that players are going to be back in buildings and practicing, then that's going to be the first real chance for the league to put into practice whatever protocols it has to put into in terms of testing, in terms of keeping players safe. And then you look ahead to the season. Players are having a lot of questions right now. There are regular conference calls with the players and the Players Association where players are asking questions about their own personal safety, about how things are going to work in terms of testing. What happens if someone's infected? What happens if someone isn't comfortable playing because maybe they have a pre-existing condition and they don't want to expose themselves and then maybe their families to the virus. So there are a lot of things that have to be answered in those next 99 days before we even know what it's going to look like in terms of players putting on uniforms, putting on helmets, and actually playing this game.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.